So I'd like to do a quick look around the room and just introduce ourselves so we know who's in the room. I'm Nika Lemons. I'm part of the Vulnerable Populations team, and I've been with this lovely division for about 2 months. It's been absolutely amazing. Just happy to be here.
Nice to meet you. I'm Yolanda Cynthia. I'm the Finance and Development Director for Africatown International.
And I'm David Feiga. I am the chair of the board of the Bronx Freedom Fund, for minister without portfolio at the Bail Project.
And I am Becky Rara. I'm the executive director at the Northwest Community Bail.
Great. And can we have the folks on the phone introduce themselves?
We have 2 people that I see. Marianne Wong, Emily Westlake.
Hi, I'm Marianne Wong from Community Passageways.
And hey, I'm Emily Westlake from Choose 180. Hi, Marianne.
And we have another guest that just joined as well.
Okay.
Does the third guest want to introduce themselves? Okay, I'm Scarlett Aldebaut Green, and I am the director for the Adult Services Division, which is the division where Nika and Adam work, and where this project is, this RFP is being run through.
And this is the lovely.
Oh, sorry. I thought I already did myself. I did the introductions. Adam Schmid, the community liaison with the Veterans, Seniors, and Human Services Lady. Nice to meet you.
All right, so today, what are we going to cover? Real quickly, we're going to talk about what is the Community Service Operating Fund. We're going to give a quick overview of the RFP, talk a little bit about ZoomGrants so that you feel comfortable, and have some questions and answers. And so because the bulk of this is pretty much listed in the RFP, I want to make time, and I'm not going to go through it too fast, but I want to give sufficient time to answer any questions or concerns that you may have. I want to honor that opportunity. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So what is a community service operating fund? What is community service operating funding? Anybody know right away? You don't have to tag it on too long if we already know. We just want to make sure I'm orienting the room.
I don't know, so feel free.
Next slide. So essentially, the ordinance adopts the 2019-20 biennial budget and makes appropriations for the operation of county agencies and departments, land, capital improvements for the fiscal biennium beginning in January 1 to ending in December 31st, 2020. And essentially, there are specific fundings for organizations or projects or initiatives that serve the public interest. And so this is an example of one of those situations. But because of the size of the funding, we want to make sure to be good stewards of the county's funding, and taxpayers' funding that the county holds. And so we open it up to make sure that there's an equitable process. So essentially it funds, again, departments, capital improvements, and any other appropriations. I like to also highlight our commitment to equity and social justice. Yes, we bear the name of Dr. Martin Luther King, and so we take very seriously, we lean in with making sure that we try to improve the quality of life of some of the most disadvantaged populations. Come on in. Hello. How are you? Very well. You can sign in down there, sir.
Sure thing.
I'm Nika.
I'm Augustine.
Hi, Victoria. Nice to meet you.
Come on, we got
And so don't worry, this entire process is recorded. And so you haven't missed much. We just kind of did a quick introduction, and it's recorded and it'll be online. Everyone's introduced themselves. Do we want to do it real quick again? I'm Nika Lemons. I'm the Vulnerable Populations Unit Manager.
And I'm Yolanda Cynthia. I'm the Finance and Development Director for Africatown International.
David Feiga, chair of the board of the Bronx Freedom Fund and Bail Project.
Hi, I'm Becky. I'm the executive director of the Northwest Community Bail Fund here in King County.
I'm Augustine Sita, VP of Operations with the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle.
Hi, and I'm Satori Butler. I'm participant navigator at the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle.
Scarlett Aldebaut Green, I'm the division director for the Adult Services Division, and the Department of Community and Services.
And I'm Adam Schmidt, the Community Liaison for the Veterans, Seniors, and Human Services Levy.
And then we have a couple of people on the line as well. Marianne, Emily, do you want to introduce yourselves again?
Sure, Marianne Wong with Community Passageways.
Emily Westlake with Choose 180.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about this appropriation. Here's what we all know, that one, research has shown that detained individuals experience longer sentences when charges and demographics are held constant. We know that pretrial detention, even as few as 2 days, have shown to increase the likelihood of new arrests, failure to appear in court, and cause reverberating instability. And we're talking about the impacts that it has on families. We're talking about the impacts that it has on individuals. The aforementioned injuries are occurred prior to the rightful access to the due process, meaning that individuals have not been convicted of any crime or found guilty in any form or fashion, but yet they're experiencing quite a bit of disruption to their stability in terms of the family. So let's go over the overview just real quickly. Successful applicants will provide bail bond to indigent individuals. The funding can be used for related programmatic expenses. And what you'll notice about this, because what I've been receiving in terms of questions, submit directly to me, and then they will be placed into ZoomGrants so that everyone has the same information as you're crafting your RFP, is that we didn't put really tight parameters around what those funds can be used for. So what we trust and believe is that the organizations that are applying might have some insight about some of the particular needs that this population may need assistance. That may mean they need transportation to court. It may mean that they need reminders. It may, whatever the case may be. We want to make sure that we don't try to constrain this funding too much in order to make sure that we can attain some learnings from your program model, but also that we're actually servicing the need of the client. Any questions here before I move to the next slide? No? Okay. So exactly how much funding is available? Well, up to $400,000. And if you wanted to investigate a little bit more about the fund, I provided the section number and the restriction number, and specifically in line 751 and 754. This is a one-time county fund award for the period of the award date, the exact award date. We are hoping and aiming and aspiring for June 1. But of course, we have to go through the review panel. We have to make sure if it's necessary to do any interviews, things of that sort, that we provide a bit of a grace period. And that will be until, so the award date is not specified here, but we're aiming for June 1. So who's eligible? Everybody in the room eligible? Want to raise your hands? So of course, well, one of the minimum qualifications is that we're looking for nonprofits with 501c3 status or have a fiscal sponsor with a 501c3 status, currently serving the population that's targeted, or have a clear capacity to build the eligible services outlined in the scope of work. So what this is acknowledging is that you may already have a great program service model, but this is an area that may provide the opportunity for you to pivot just a bit or just enhance your service model. This provides supports for meaningfully partnerships with providers and equivalent-based entities. So in the event that you don't have this aspect, but you want to partner with an organization that does, this also provides that opportunity. So how are we going to evaluate you? While you are not required to submit a fully developed evaluation plan, please make sure to outline to us how you specifically seek to obtain the information that's outlined in the RFP. Some of you all did not have access to the RFP because you heard about it from a different communications line. But what I'll do specifically after this presentation is make sure that I provide you with the link. And what you'll see in the RFP specifically states about 9 to 10 data points that we're hoping to attain. Amount of fund, or the different data points. So they're about 9 to 10 points, and I'll pull that up, but also make sure that you receive the link. We're also asking for aggregate and mirrored reports. Essentially, we are not collecting client level data. We want to protect the privacy of our clients. We know that this is a sensitive matter, but we do want to make sure that we're discussing what your results are and how they're resulting at the aggregate level. Any questions yet? Moving too fast, or are we okay? Okay. So here's our timeline. Our release date was on the 19th. Today is the Voters Conference. You're here. The final date to submit questions is April 5th. Again, for those who do not receive the link, what you'll see is a library tab where you can post your questions. Even if you email them to me, let's say for persons who are not here, I'll take those questions, provide answers, and place them in the FAQ so that everyone has access to our questions. I am not able to have individual conversations and provide any insight that isn't equally or equitably available to everyone else. So your response to the RFP is due on April 12th. No late submissions, ZoomGrants will automatically decline any submissions after that. So I encourage you to get it in way before 11:59 because the system glitching. The responses will be reviewed during the week of April 27th to the 26th. If any interviews are necessary, that will also take place during that time. Notification of award decisions and anticipated start date is June 2019. And as we mentioned, that is our absolute goal. But we know that there's some internal logistics that have to happen. Any questions at this stage? No? Next slide. And again, I'm going to remind you that the due date is on when?
April 12th.
Good job. Everyone gets an A. So a completed submission consists of the summary questions, the narrative questions, the budgeted, and your services, all of which are loaded into ZoomGrants. So you don't have to look for any, you don't have to create your own templates. The thing that I like about ZoomGrants is it also doesn't require you to print like this huge packet that you have to carry down and make sure you get on the train. And we're trying to make it easy and make sure that it's accessible to all types of organizations. So how will we rate you? Here's the judgment. Dun, 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 dun. Well, because we have commitment to equity and social justice. That's included in our rating criteria, language access, organizational capacity and program model, as well as your budget and fiscal narrative, any data collection and evaluation plans, which are outlined in those questions that are included in the RFP that we're really trying to make sure that we have access to in order to produce an annual report. And I see people ferociously taking notes. I want to remind you that this session is recorded and it will be uploaded. So,
All right.
You can if you want to, but I just want you to know that it's recorded and you'll have access to everything.
Can you elaborate on language access?
So what we recognize is that there's a disparity in the population that's impacted. We also recognize that Seattle has a unique makeup that might be different from Texas. We also recognize that language can be a barrier to having proper access to these services. And so there's that element of making sure that everyone has equitable access to this service in order to achieve the mission of showing that indigent individuals of any demographic are not excluded from having access to the program.
So in terms of the questions that are in the RFP specifically, there's two related to language access. The first one is, can you describe your organization's current language access and service capacity, including outreach to your target populations, which may be different for each organization, and then how multilingual services are administered at your organization. And then what language access needs do you anticipate? So if you're thinking about expanding, growing, or your program would be a new program, what may that look like? And then, what do you think you will need to be able to make that language access happen if you are a new program or expanding or pivoting?
Yeah. Any other questions? No? After taking notes? Okay. Next slide. So all our RFP materials are posted in ZoomGrants. And you'll see the library tab. Make sure you check regularly for updates. As soon as I get the questions in, I'll make sure they're aligned and check to make sure they're aligned to the mission and enter those so that everyone has access to those. Again, that's why April 5th is the deadline, in order to give you as much information around any inquiries that you have so that you have time to prepare an RFP that reflects your new level of understanding. All of the application must be filled out via ZoomGrants. Questions today and those submitted in writing will be posted as well. And the link again. Any other questions on thus far? No? This is just too easy. And finally, let's talk about questions.
Well, can you tell me, it said the focus is on indigent.
Yes, sir.
Are there specific groups or just indigent across the board? So the majority of people in our organization that we serve are African American, over 90% at least in our workforce programs.
Yes, sir.
Is there a particular group of people that they're targeting? As long as they're indigent, meaning the meaning for indigent is someone who basically can't afford bail, monetary. Is that the definition that they're looking at? Okay.
Yes, and the RFP asks you specifically to look at, to describe what your target population is and how you will be serving that target population.
Any other questions?
I have a few questions just around the jurisdiction. And I know this is with King County, but are we able to service other areas like, say, Pierce County, Snohomish County, or is it solely King County?
This is solely King County.
Okay.
And as far as the people,
Yes, sir.
we're servicing the crimes. Because this, I take it this is more towards misdemeanors, probably. Does people's criminal histories matter? Is there a criteria that's set in place for who you can bail out? How does that get set up?
So we did not set those types of parameters.
Are you leaving that to us?
Yes. We trust that the organization, this is the opportunity for us to learn, but also we are not setting those parameters because the goal, again, is to serve indigent individuals not been convicted of a crime. And
So misdemeanor, felony.
to prevent family and individual instability.
So we can target.
So we.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So as far as the criteria for who is eligible for the fund,
Yes,
we would determine that, or are there parameters around?
So indigent
Other than that, okay, that's it, all right.
Wow.
We also acknowledge that groups are disproportionately impacted. That's mentioned in there as well, but we do not set parameters around, okay, can't do this.
So again, it's set up so that you just tell us what your program model is and who the indigent individuals that your program would be targeting to serve are, and no other parameters.
Okay. Any other questions? Note takers over there?
No, I think that makes sense. So we,
Okay. And if you,
I assume that, is that in
questions
the,
later.
in the RFP?
Yes,
I assume
sir.
it will ask us to define our target, our target
Yeah.
population and how we define that, and so on and so forth.
Yes, the second
Great.
question just says, are
Got
there
it.
particular indigent individuals
Perfect.
that your services target or will target, and if so, which ones?
And I can pass this around so you guys can
Great.
give it a look. And again, it's already loaded into the ZoomGrants.
Oh, is there more than one?
Oh, just so you can give it a look.
Oh,
Don't
I
worry.
see.
As soon as we leave here, just make sure that your email address is legible, and I'll forward that along.
Are there any questions from anyone on the line?
Hello?
Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is there going to be a recording of this?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. This process is currently being recorded. It will be loaded, and all participants that have not received access to the link will be provided the link. Have you received? Do you have access to the link, or should we make sure that we take down your email address and provide that?
That would be great. I don't think you have my email address.
My email address, my colleague can give it to you, Augustine Cedar.
Yeah, I have it. We have access to the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're on the Skype call, if you want to send it through the Skype messaging system, I can copy it there as well.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
What?
If you're on the Skype call, so go ahead and feel free to enter your email address right now, and we can make sure that we have it.
I got Emily.
Okay, I'm on the phone. I'm not on the Skype.
Okay.
I see Mary Ann's typing too.
I have one other.
So,
sorry.
so we have Emily's, Marianne. Did you send yours as well?
Just got Mary Ann's.
Okay, we got yours as well. Is there someone else on the call? We think we saw a third person sign on.
Loren Sales is on the call. So I can give her her email.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that was me, yeah.
Yeah,
Loren
I'll give you guys her email.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions at all? Yes, sir.
So, and you said the period is for 18 months. Is that right?
June
June to December. June, okay, got it. Just for budget.
No, but you're efficient.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Is there any, so you see that it's a one-time grant. Is there any plan for after that? Say we have a lot of success with using the funds to help people. What happens after that 18 months?
So our biennium budget process works per the biennium. So this is how much was allocated in the community services operating budget by council in the biennium for 1920.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I see you're going to use the ZoomGrants. So the character restrictions, is it really limited?
No, ma'am.
They are somewhat limited, but not really limited.
Right, not like 300 words of the sort.
Okay.
There are some parameters around it. I believe it's 6,500 characters. I could be wrong.
It has been advised in previous bidders conferences to make sure and type it up in like a word processing application, and that way you can count them. Because in ZoomGrants, the little window is restricted.
Yeah. Did you hear Adam?
Yeah, I usually do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so that you can see how it all reads and delete it all. Yeah.
It's such a bother. But I understand why. Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
And Augustine
And here's my
Tori,
email.
do I have
Again,
your email addresses somewhere around there?
Just know that it'll get transferred into ZoomGrants.
Yeah, we didn't ask for it. I think we just did that.
Okay, thank you so much. We're gonna be hanging up for those of you on the call unless you have any more questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.